Today I want to talk about loudspeakers. One of the questions that comes up with loudspeakers is, what is the right loudspeaker? My answer is, that depends. It depends on the application you've got in mind. It depends on the room you're going into and the situation you want to use it in. If we want to provide background music, then ceiling speakers can be quite an effective and near invisible way of providing sound. And if you want full range background music, then there are ceiling subwoofers that can also extend the low frequency range of such systems. But if we want foreground speech and music, then usually these sort of systems are not going to provide it, and we want something that's a little more high powered, a bit more directional, and a bit more effective to provide good clear sound over a large area. If we're talking about a portable sound system, we want something which is going to fit the average location that we're going to be using that portable system in. And so it's a case of having a look at the size of venues and the style and shape of those venues, the type of performance that we're going to need to amplify, and aim for a system which is going to fulfill most of those requirements for those type of rooms. We'd be using speaker stands usually, and putting up speakers that are going to be easy to move, so portable and light. They need to have appropriate power handling, appropriate frequency response, and coverage angles to deal with the type of rooms that we would encounter. When we start talking about an installed system, then there's room for a lot more planning and thought in the design of the system, and there's no excuses for not getting it right, because we can take the time to do that. We're not limited by having to have a simple system that can be quickly put in and removed, so we can look more thoroughly at how we install the speakers and where we install the speakers, and we want to get a setup that has good coverage so that every seat in the room is covered, and that the power handling and the frequency range is appropriate for the job. Cables can be concealed if possible behind walls and ceilings and out of sight. Choices of speakers involves a number of different styles. Most common speakers, pro sound, that we encounter are a two-way box with a 12-inch or a 15-inch direct radiating main speaker and a high frequency horn which deals with the higher frequencies, and that's got a compression driver on the back. There can also be three-way versions of this box, and there's a big choice in coverage patterns and things like that. Also covering the low range, we've got the subwoofers, 18-inch and 15-inch subwoofers. Even occasionally we see a 21-inch subwoofer, and they can be in multiples of boxes or multiples of drivers per box. Common coverage patterns for the horns on these speakers is 40 by 60 or 50 by 90, but there are a range of other patterns and options from a range of different better speaker manufacturers. One of the things that's coming out now is line arrays, and these are becoming increasingly popular, and they do have some good features, but they also have some side effects that may not be mentioned in the glossy brochures. Line arrays can provide nice tight vertical pattern control and a good wide horizontal pattern. The curved or J-type line arrays can also give variable vertical adjustment and pattern control, which can be useful in a portable system, for example, or in a system which has to deal with an audience that covers quite a range and angle. The horizontal pattern is mainly determined by the high frequency horn, which most line array speakers have, although not all of them have any sort of type of horn in them. One of the negatives with these is lobing, and the vertical lobes that come from these is sometimes quite a significant issue, and it happens at certain frequencies, and it's largely determined by driver spacing in the line array. These lobes can lead to poor feedback performance if they land in the wrong place, and they particularly happen at high frequencies. The other issue with line arrays is that as we change distance from the speaker, we get a changing frequency response, so there's some compromise has to be made in the equalization of these systems. In a sound system we've got multiple speakers, we're going to have interaction between the speakers. Sometimes it's going to be constructive and sometimes it's going to be destructive. This is going to depend on frequency and the spacing between the speakers and the way they're aimed as well. A good design is going to anticipate the interaction issues and make compensation for it to minimise the problem. The other thing that needs to be said about speaker choice is room acoustics. A lot of what we hear is due to the room acoustics, and if we don't allow for that and include that in our design, then we could design a system which on paper works brilliantly and practice is a complete failure. And I've been into rooms where the systems have been total failures for most of the audience. In the worst case, the system was effective for perhaps about 10% of the audience. The rest of the audience got very little or no benefit from the sound system installed, and that's not the result you want to achieve. Good system design needs to provide good sound with adequate level, clarity and intelligibility to every seat in the audience. The acoustics need to be included in the design process, and the design choices made to make sure it works. Clarity is one of the things that perhaps a lot of designers, a lot of sound system people don't want to think about, but one of the measures that we use for it is called STI, or Sound Transmission Index, and my design goal is for a 0.6 clarity, or STI, at the worst seats in the room. So the best seats may be getting up 0.8 or better. This isn't something that will happen without some effort, and there's no standard design that can guarantee these sort of results. Every room is a different situation and needs to be treated as differently. So the question we asked at the start was, what speaker should I use? And the answer is that it is very dependent on the situation that it's to be used in. The choice of speaker, where and how it is installed, are the most critical part of a sound system. Getting this right is just so important. My recommendation is seek qualified design advice. Go to somebody who has the training and the experience to do it well, and avoid wastage and all the problems that come from getting it wrong. And sadly, too many people do get it wrong. If you've got a question relating to loudspeakers, drop us a line at questions@sound.net.nz. There's other ways of contacting us too through the website. I'm planning to do more blogs on loudspeakers, and this is sort of the introduction one. Till next time.